pass it over to James, man. What else we got?
Well, we've got the Miami Dolphins there in the NFL. Quite the game this last weekend.
Oh, man.
They scored 70 points, which is the most ever in a Super Bowl era. So this is the only team also with a perfect season in the history of NFL, winning all their regular season games as well as the 72 Super Bowl. Nobody's repeated it. I know the Patriots had tried to do it, but they ended up getting knocked out. In the Super Bowl. I think the Giants ended up winning that.
Okay, got you. Man, oh my gosh, it was crazy, man. That was crazy. I was not expecting that, especially from the Dolphins. Like, I could see if it was a team like the Chiefs or something like that, but man, they just like straight out embarrassed the Broncos. Like, and then I don't know if you watched it. They did a post interview with Sean Payton, man, and they kind of was just picking at him like, man, how do you feel, covering a team like that's one of the worst losses in history. Like, that's history, and it's only the third week, in the season.
Payton doesn't run the the defense though, so it's really not as much his fault as it is. Although as head coach, you oversee everything.
Right? But nah, man. Honestly, this was all Dolphins offense, man. They just couldn't stop him. Especially, I gotta give it to Tyreek Hill. Like I said, man, it just seems like Miami has these teams that sneak up, man. He was if they win, let's just say they win the Super Bowl or whatever, he definitely needs to be MVP. That's no question.
Well, and just check out the balance in this game with their offense. 350 rushing yards, 376 passing yards, 726 total yards. That's another record, I know.
Man.
Do you think that this 2023 Dolphins team is the best offense ever?
I wouldn't say the best offense ever. I think they're top notch though. I think they're showing us, they're leaving a message. They left a message with that game, not just against the Broncos because they're not a team to be worried, but they're sending a message to all teams like, hey, we're coming. We're coming. It's not going to be easy. Man, the running game was phenomenal from both of those running backs. That was on there. It's just phenomenal, bro. They could not stop. I mean, they made it easier for the quarterback because if your rushing game is good, you don't have to do a lot of work.
And then just taking a look at the teams that they beat so far this season.
Yeah.
They only have a combined 2-7 record. So, you have the Los Angeles Chargers. They're trying to establish themselves as contenders. They're still very young, and they're also still getting used to the Kellen Moore-led offense, their new offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots. Now, the Patriots and Dolphins, longtime division rivals in the AFC East. There's no more Tom Brady. And that's something that has affected New England for years now.
For a minute, yeah.
Bill Belichick was also helped out by having an elite quarterback who was able to hog the ball as well as the ball clock.
Exactly. I mean, giving them all those rings, I mean, it's definitely devastating to have, once that quarterback leaves and you can't really find nobody to really fill that spot. I mean, because I noticed for a lot of these quarterbacks, they can't really do what Brady does. Brady knows how to get out that pocket. He's tough. Even if he's in the pocket, he had a rocket arm. I mean, it was tough.
And now it's finally a chance for Miami to be the top of that division.
Yeah.
Especially since Buffalo, they're playing all right this season, but not anywhere near what people had expected them to be.
Yeah, honestly, if Miami keep playing like this, man, it's gonna be a problem. And I know it was a home game, but at the same time, I feel like they can play their way away too. They was just dominant. They was just dominant on offense. But the Broncos, they kept knocking Wilson down. He couldn't get a good throw. He had a few interceptions. Oh, another thing I blame is the Broncos receivers. They weren't holding on to the ball. I don't know if you noticed that. They were dropping it. I mean, so I wouldn't put all the blame on Wilson. It definitely, the receivers, they need to have a talk. The offensive coordinator, he needs to line them up because...
Speaking of Wilson, I'm wondering, do you think that he's the answer for the Broncos at quarterback, or do you think maybe he's towards the end of his career and maybe either kind of turn into a backup or time to maybe hang up the cleats?
It's looking that way. It's looking that way, honestly, because what is he really doing? I don't really see any improvement in his game. I don't know if he's letting his personal life affect his game, but it's not looking good. It's not looking so high. It wasn't for sure hot last season, and it's not looking hot this season. If you let a Miami Dolphins team dominate you like that, that was embarrassing.
I think he maybe misses the Seahawks and that culture that Seattle had. I know it's a big football town, and they love the Seahawks. They're very proud of them.
Yeah,
so,
and it was the difference in how he played with the Seahawks. He was dominant. He was, exciting to watch. It seemed like on this Bronco team, I don't feel like him and his receivers are connecting like that.
Yeah, I think that definitely has something to do with them dropping this game to Miami in such a major fashion.
Yeah.
And then just looking at the skill position players, you said Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
All of the attention this game was focused on him because they were playing without Jalen Waddle.
Right.
He was on concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So, and he's one of the most important players for their team because he's wide receiver number 2. Everyone's going to be focused on
him.
Hill.
Yeah,
so.
I love how he plays, man. He just plays with authority, and he has a good energy to him. Good energy when he plays. So, man, it seems like it's hard to stop him. They keep him and their running game going, man. They're gonna be a problem.
And then I think one of the big things with them in general, when you look at their team, is speed.
Speed. Oh yeah, they're very fast.
They have their running backs, Raheem Mostert, the speedster from San Francisco, and then Devon Achane, another really fast running back.
Yeah.
So I know after the game, head coach Mike McDaniel said, "I've said it time and time again that an incredibly coachable locker room, that it's an incredibly coachable locker room, and they definitely earned that victory."
Yeah.
So when you have players like that with speed, with talent. And then just that coachability, it's showing with the Dolphins. They did very well last season.
Yeah.
They were projected to be division leaders.
Right. Yeah.
They're proving everybody right.
They're definitely proving everybody right on the east side of things. Like I said, you can tell they played together. They played as a team, and then, they got a good game plan going. So, and that defense, man, they were hot. They were on it. Honestly, if they keep playing like this, I would like to see them against the, Chiefs and one of those teams like that. Because I want to see who really wants it.
The best of the best. And
I want to see.
Their quarterback, too, Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
He had just 3 incompletions the entire game. And they had benched him at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Right.
So he completed his first 17 passes and finished 23 of 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. There were only 2 failed drives, meaning the Dolphins could possibly have had 84 points, which would have been mind-blowing.
Man, it still is mind-blowing to me because, like I said, you don't normally see this, a regular season game that high of a, points, wise, and it's like, from that team, that really just kind of tripped me out. And it's like, man, if I was the Broncos, man, I would feel crazy. Sean Payton, maybe he thinking like, man, should I win here? Like, was this a good idea?
Tua, he actually even threw a touchdown with his right hand. And he's able to throw accurately with both hands, which is pretty interesting. I know his father, when he was a kid, he's right-handed predominantly, but his father just kept telling him to throw with his left hand and get used to that.
Yeah.
And that's how he plays the game. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, that's a good way, good technique. A lot of quarterbacks can't throw with their left hand. So you're kind of advantaged from most.
I think Tua is a severely underrated quarterback so far in his career. And then aside from the concussions he suffered last year, I don't think he's gotten the attention that he deserves. Does this game change that?
Yeah, definitely does. They're gonna keep talking about this game for a minute, for a while. So even though it's still early, but it's something to talk about. And the Broncos, I would be worried. I definitely would be worried because you don't want to be one of those teams that be constantly talked about negatively like that
Second year in a row too.
Yeah, second year. You know, Wilson, they might get rid of him. You know, it might be time for him to wrap it up. You know, honestly, if I was him, I would have stayed with the Seahawks. At least you could have ended with a team like that. You know,
the team you've been on with your whole career, you've been retired as Seahawk, which the teams will do that. They'll bring you back for a one-day contract just so you can retire. Cowboy, Seahawk, Chief,
right?
But yeah, I don't know what the Broncos are gonna do.
I don't either.
I wish them the best of luck and hope that they're able to find some sort of success. You get a coach like Sean Payton, it's got to be so frustrating for that organization to sit and have this talent. And also, they have talent on the field too. They just need to be able to put everything together.
And I think that's the hardest part. Like I said, the Broncos defense were okay. They're usually pretty good, but you know they just could not stop Miami Dolphins. I don't know if it's because it was their home game or they just really couldn't stop on the offense.
And what about their division too? So you have to compete with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest mountain to climb when it comes to playoffs or just competing in the regular season.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the way they're playing now, I mean, the Chiefs should really kind of look out for them too as well. I feel like it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be an easy game when they play. I feel like it's a 50-50 chance. Definitely, because with this game, they're sending a message to the Chiefs like, hey, you know, we're coming. So
the Dolphins' next game actually is going to be in Buffalo against the Bills. So I think that's going to be a good watch.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, you guys. Y'all let us know who y'all think is going to win that game. It's kind of hard because the Bills are still the Bills, but I'm gonna stay in the middle with that one.
I think that Buffalo needs to at least perform well in this game because if they don't, they're
if they don't
display their weakness.
If they don't beat the Dolphins in this game, man, that's they're going to be talked about. That's something to kind of worry about because I mean you're the Bills, you know. Yeah, at the same time, we'll see you guys.
So up next.